So Sparking Zero has been out for a little over a week now for those with early access. And as someone with early access, I've broken the game down and am now at a point where I can put out a one-stop shop ultimate guide for improving your skills. Yes, this is tailored to those that partake in ranked. However, this guide is still useful if you're someone that just wants to get better to beat your friends. As always, there will be timestamps and chapters if you'd like to skip ahead to a certain topic, as this guide will cover everything there is when it comes to battling. If at the end of the video you feel like you've been helped in any way, then make sure to leave a like and share this with someone who you think would benefit from this guide as well. Also, if you're new, make sure to subscribe if you like the vibes here, and if there's anything you think would help someone that isn't mentioned in this video, then please leave it in the comments so we can help as many people as possible get better at this amazing game. Without further ado, let's get into the guide. Sparking Zero has a lot of new features when it comes to the combat that even veterans of the franchise will need to learn. And what better way to learn these new mechanics than the in-game tutorial? The battle training mode goes over the basic rules of battling, beginner exercises such as movement, how to transform, how to counter and dodge, as well as the different types of super attacks. I will be breaking these down further into the video, but I feel like every player should definitely visit this battle training mode first, as it touches on the actual inputs of these new mechanics like perception. After you've gotten yourself accustomed to these new features as well as the basics, let's dive into the in-game training mode. So in case you didn't know, Sparking Zero is a fighting game, and what do all fighting games have in common? That's right, combos. Combos in Sparking Zero are very basic on the surface. You can just press X or square depending on your console to do a very basic auto combo. And let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. For the remainder of this video, I'll be referring to each button in basic fighting game terminology. This picture on screen is what I'm talking about. This is a universal way of describing inputs for combos in fighting games that you can understand no matter the console you're playing on. Like I said before, combos are very basic on the surface, but as you understand more features, they can get pretty long, and that's what this portion of the guide is going to go over, so let's get into it. Every character is different when it comes to how they make combos. I'll be using Goku as he's a basic character, and I feel like he'd be the most popular, but to follow along, just pick your favorite character. If you go into the move list, which is called Explanation of Controls, and you move to the Rush Chain Actions tab, you can see that base Super Goku has 4 rush chain actions. The first one being Heavy Finish, which is a huge attack that leaves your opponent stunned long enough to keep the combo going. The second one being Ki Blast Cannon, which does a Force Wave pushback attack that also extends the combo. His third rush chain action is Flying Kicks, which is a flurry of kicks that also keeps the combo going. And lastly, he has another Heavy Finish for his fourth. Now take note that just because a rush chain action is repeated like in this scenario, you cannot use both, because the game does not allow you to use more than one of each rush chain action to prevent infinite combos. So what do you do with these rush chain actions? Well, think of them as combo extenders. You piece them together depending on what character you're playing, like a puzzle, and you finish the combo with one of the follow-up attacks. Most rush chain actions have a follow-up input you can do to essentially end the combo. It ends the combo because the attacks leave the enemy in a state where you cannot combo any further. Now, before I show a basic combo using what I just went over, there's just a few more things to understand. First is being behind your opponent. Being behind your opponent comes with many benefits. The most important being you do more damage. The second being there's only one way for your opponent to get out of whatever combo you have them in, and that's with the super counter, which I will go over in the defense portion of this guide. There are a multitude of ways to getting behind your opponent though. You can either side hop around them. You can start pressing 1, and at any moment you can press 4 and up at the same time to vanish behind the opponent, which is the best way in my opinion. You can Z-burst dash to get behind them, which you can do by pressing L2 or LT plus 3 and then pressing it again once the animation of you dashing is started. And lastly, if the character you're using has a battle ability called Instant Transmission, then you can use that to instantly get behind them as well. Battle abilities are unique to every character and they all vary in cost, and you can see the number of skill points you have by looking under your character's portrait. Now that we've gone over that, I can show you a basic combo using everything I've said so far. So to start off the combo, you want to get behind them, so starting off by pressing 1 into up plus 4 to vanish behind them, and then continue to press 1 until you get to a rush chain action you would like to perform. In this scenario, with base Super Goku, it would be 1 into up plus 4 into 1 and then 2 to do the Ki Blast Cannon, and then immediately into pressing 1 to continue the combo. Then you want to do any combination of rush chain actions, but in this case I will do his Heavy Finish into his Flying Kicks. Here's where you can either end the combo with a super or you can keep it going. I'm going to keep it going to show what you can actually do in this game. If you continue to press 1, you'll notice that at some point in the combo, your opponent gets pushed away, and if you continue to press 1, you'll teleport automatically into a finisher. We don't want to do that. If you stop pressing 1 at the attack where they get pushed back, you can do something else. If you press 3 at that moment, you can do a step in into a step in attack by pressing either 1, up +1, or down +1. Once you've done this once, you can do it one more time, and you can do any combination of step in attacks. Lastly, you can finish the combo with either a super attack or by keep pressing 1 until they get knocked away. This is what that looks like. This is just a basic combo idea, and I have plenty of combo videos on this channel already that take a deep dive into what each character is capable of doing. So if that interests you, then make sure you check out those videos as well. Now, there are a ton of combinations for making combos, and going over every single one would make this video way longer than it already is. Every character is different, and even transforming with the same character changes their rush chain actions, so you need to memorize them. Now, what are some other attacking features? Some characters have access to unblockable attacks, and the only way to not get hit by them is to dodge. You can tell a attack is unblockable if your screen flashes black and white during the animation. Now that I've covered combos, let's go over some of the different things that you can do other than those. To start off, you have smash attacks. Holding down 1 will charge up a heavy attack called a smash attack that will send your opponent flying, but if they are guarding, it will break their guard, reducing their ki. If you happen to time these perfectly, when your character starts to glow, you perform a perfect smash that will teleport you and is also an unblockable attack. If you have distance between you and your opponent, you can always throw some ki blasts by pressing 2. If you hold 2, you can charge up a different style of ki blast depending on the character you're playing that will deal more damage and have different properties. Dashing and pressing 2 afterwards will throw a flurry of ki blasts as well. If you're on the ground and you jump with R1 or RB, you can then press 2 to fire a volley of ki blast as well. Alternatively, you can just charge your ki, as it's a valuable resource, by holding down RT or R2. A useful tool if your enemy is guarding a lot is you can double tap 3 to perform a grab, and grabs are also unblockable. Another thing to get used to is the movement. Movement in Sparking Zero is as crazy as any other Tenkaichi game. First off, you can press 3 in a direction to dash quickly, which uses ki. You can hold L2 or LT with 3 to dash around. And as mentioned before, if you press it again, you can do a Z-burst dash that puts you directly behind your opponent. If you happen to knock your opponent away with a combo, you can use dragon homing to follow up to your opponent for more attacks by pressing 3. You can press 2 to teleport and knock them away again, or press 4 to instantly kick them back to the ground as a follow-up attack. The last thing to make note of is the sparking mode. If you have at least 1 skill count, which is the number under your character's portrait, you can then fully charge your ki to enter sparking mode. Sparking mode essentially gives your character steroids, and there are some characters that have battle abilities that allow you to enter sparking mode without having to charge the ki. While in sparking mode, you can continuously press 1 to do a longer auto combo than you normally would if you just press 1. You can still use rush chain actions to extend this combo, but it requires you to memorize the animations so you know when to press 2. Otherwise, you'll just send the enemy flying back, and from there you can do a follow-up attack as you wish. Another thing is sparking mode also allows you to vanish a lot more frequently with 4, and that can throw off your opponent. Lastly, sparking mode lets you use your ultimate ability, which does insane damage. That pretty much sums up how to improve your combos, as well as give you some ideas for attacking strategies. As I stated in the beginning, if there is anything you deem worthy of being mentioned and I failed to do so, leave a comment so we can help even more. Now let's get into the defensive side of things. So what do you do if someone is able to hit you and puts you into a combo? You just want to let it happen and wait for it to finish? No. You have defensive options that can help you out if you're able to pick up on the timing. Timing is everything when it comes to defense. You can vanish, you have multiple ways to counter, you have the new perception mechanic. This section of the video is going to go over all you need to know for defense, so buckle up and let's get to it. Let's start with the perception and super perception mechanic. Perception is a mechanic where you can preemptively stop your opponent from hitting you at the cost of ki with regular perception, and ki as well as skill points for super perception. By pressing 2 and 4 at the same time, your character enters a stance, and if a basic melee attack connects, you will counter it and hit the opponent away. If a smash attack were to connect, you'd perform super perception instead, but the result is the same. Super perception can also be used to deflect beam attacks, and doing so will give you a buff that allows you to charge your ki faster. Another form of countering is the revenge counter. If your opponent has already started hitting you, you can double tap L1 or LB to perform the revenge counter, and that will temporarily give you armor and hit the opponent away out of the combo. Revenge counter costs skill points, and this can be used at a multitude of ranges. Up next, we have the infamous Sonic Sway. By pressing 2 plus 4 at the same time, time a melee attack were to connect, you will start auto-dodging your enemy's attacks whilst draining their ki, and then following up with a knockback attack. You can then press down +2 to smash them down afterwards. The hardest form of countering in this game is the super counter. This requires very precise timing, but by pressing up +1 at the same time a attack connects, it will stagger your opponent like they hit a brick wall, ending their combo. Maybe you're not a fan of countering and you just want to outright dodge attacks. Well, using high-speed evasion will do just that. At the cost of some ki, you can press 4 at the same time a attack were to hit you, and you'll vanish off to the side of whatever attack was about to connect. Another thing to note is if your opponents were to try and grab you, pressing 4 at the same time will slap their hand away, thus canceling the grab. Pressing 4 when ki blasts are thrown at you will deflect them as well. What can you do if your opponent hits you with a full combo and sends you flying? Well, you can recover quicker than normal depending on what the scenario is. If your opponent hits you with a lift strike, you can press up +4 to recover quicker, however it uses ki. You can also do the same thing while pressing down +4 for a free version. Now for the last part of the guide, and that's the different clashes, or as they call them, impacts. Impacts are scenarios where you will see a pop-up of a quick time event, which is some sort of mini game. I'm going to break them down now and how you can best win them all. A side note, you can press LT or L2 to boost your efficiency at the cost of your ki to help win these mini games. Starting off, we have the speed impact. Speed impact occurs when two dragon dashes collide, and to win this there are two different parts. Part 1, you have to press the circle closer to the center than your opponent, and then the next part begins. Part 2, you rotate your left or right stick rapidly to determine how much damage you deal. If you lose part 1, I believe spinning reduces the damage. The next impact is blast impact. Blast impact occurs when blasts that give off light rays or flares collide, aka any type of Kamehameha style blast. To win these, power is determined by the timing of when you press the button. However, whoever has the higher power wins. You can achieve greater power by aiming for the proper timing rather than just mashing it. Up next, we have the crash impact. Crash impacts occur when two step-ins collide. To win the crash impact minigame, you press the melee or defense button. The fastest player to press the button earns 1 point. Whoever earns 3 out of the 5 exchanges is the winner. Pressing the wrong button results in losing a point. And lastly, we have the power impact. Power impact occurs when two grabs are thrown at the same time. To win the power impact, all you have to do is build power by holding down the button. You will lose all power if you hold the button too long, so just let the button go before reaching the limit. Whoever maintains the highest power the longest wins. Alright, I think that covers most, if not all, the mechanics and how to improve. A bonus tip to practice all of these things mentioned in this video is to go into the training mode, go into training settings, and change the opponent settings to whatever you would like to practice at that time. The training mode is very in tune with what a real fight would reproduce, so make sure you spend a lot of time in the hyperbolic time chamber, and the results will show in your online matches. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if there is anything you think is important and I happen to miss it, put it in the comments for others to see so we can all grow together. I hope this helped, and if it did, then please make sure to like the video as it helps push it out to others so they can see it as well. And of course, if you're new and would like to be a part of a family, then make sure to click that subscribe button because it goes a long way. Plus, it's free. Anyway, if you made it to the end of the video, you're a real one. I'm not going to keep you here any longer than I already have. Y'all take care out there, be safe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.